Hello, welcome to Bite Size Book Reviews. This is Elena today. So it's been a while since I've done one of these, but I recently finished reading Anathem by Neal Stephenson, and I really liked it, so I've been trying to convince Vee to read it too. And in the meantime, she suggested that I should do a review for it. So this story is set in what I initially took to be the distant future of our world. At this point in time, society has sort of split into two populations. So you have the population of people who live inside walled, isolated communities scattered around the world called consents. So these people are called evout, and they're what we would consider scientists, researchers, philosophers, the people who pretty much spend their entire lives debating and thinking about how the world works. The other half of the population is everyone else. The main character of this story is Erasmus, so he's a member of the Decenarian math of the Sant Edhar consent. So the evout can be divided roughly into 4 groups that are determined by the period of time between times when they actually come into contact with the outside world. So they have this holiday where the consents open their gates to allow the people inside and outside to mingle. And for people like Erasmus in the Decenarian math, this happens once every 10 years. The story starts during one of these holidays, and it spends, I guess, roughly the first third or so introducing you to the world and how it's put together. At the same time, Erasmus is starting to notice both some of the strange things about his own society and a few more obviously strange things that seem to imply that there's something big going on. One of these clues is that the star hen, so that's their observatory, has been ordered to shut down. So Erasmus's mentor Orlo is a cosmologist, so obviously the shutting down of the star hen is a major deal to him. But Erasmus and Orlo's other students get the clue that there might actually be a lot more to this when Orlo is thrown back. So that means he was exiled from the consent. The exile hits all the students really hard, so they begin trying to figure out what exactly Orlo was studying that might have gotten him into trouble. When they do find out, they realize that it's something that can actually threaten the entire world. And at roughly the same time, I guess other people realize that it can threaten the entire world too, and they are evoked. So this means that they're called upon by the governments outside of the consents to come together and try to figure out how to solve the problem. So what I liked about this book was actually partly just the sheer complexity. Like every few parts I had to actually completely revise what I thought the world history was. Like, for example, in the level of technology. So because the evout themselves are actually forbidden to use high-tech devices, and the people outside have technology that's a lot like ours, like with cell phones and things, I didn't actually realize that they're a lot more advanced than our current technology. So one hint is that a few hundred years ago, the evout actually had genetic sequencing technology and created things like trees that actually grow leaves of paper and grapes that contain the genetic information of all the grapes and other flavor plants in the world that are like super picky and really hard to grow because of that. So like this actually tells you, I guess, obviously that they're a lot more advanced than I initially thought, and you start to wonder why. And I guess just learning about how things happened and why they are the way they are was really interesting to me. And also a lot of the little myths that they bring up, like about incanters and redders and stuff, like seem really random at first, and then they seem like bits of culture, and then by the end you realize they're actually really important to the story. And I guess I like that build up and how things came together. This is also one of the few books that actually managed to surprise me more than a few times. Like I don't surprise easily, and this book managed to do it several times, including finding its way to probably what I would consider the best possible ending for all its problems, which I wasn't expecting it to be able to do. For something that I didn't like as much, I guess, is that this story uses a lot of made up words and also words that aren't used the way we use them. So, for example, their mobile phones are referred to as G-Jaws, and their movies are called Spielies. So, like, it's not hard to pick up on what these words are supposed to mean, but at the same time, the sheer number of them made it sometimes a little bit hard to follow, and it just, takes a bit of concentration to keep it all in mind. Overall, though, I just really like this book, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who likes really long and complicated books. Although, one other thing is that it likes to talk about things like the nature of consciousness, and that can get a little bit dry, but again, like all of it actually matters to the story. So, yeah, I liked it.